And welcome back to another legal breaking reporting and video analysis update. As promised, here is the reporting by Axios regarding the supposed conclusion, aka finding, that convicted child sex predator rapist Jeffrey Epstein, according to the Trump regime — notice how I said Trump regime, because currently Donald Trump's administration is not currently acting like an administration should in the executive branch. Let's get into the reporting, ladies and gentlemen, by Axios. The reporting is titled "Exclusive DOJ FBI Conclude Epstein Had No Client List, Committed Suicide." And ladies and gentlemen, the article reads: Trump's Justice Department and Federal Bureau of Investigations concluded they have no evidence that convicted sex offender and disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed powerful figures, kept a client list, or that he was murdered, according to a memo detailing the findings that was attempted by Axios. The regime is releasing a video in both raw and enhanced versions that it says indicates no one entered the area of the Manhattan prison where Epstein was being held the night before he died in 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, the video supports a medical examiner's findings that Epstein committed suicide, the two-page memo claims. Ladies and gentlemen, why does it matter? Well, I'm about to tell you why it matters. Ladies and gentlemen, it matters because the findings represent the first time the Trump regime has officially contradicted conspiracy theories about Epstein's activities and his death theories that had been pushed by the FBI's top two officials before Trump appointed them to the bureau. As social media influencers and activists, Kash Patel, now the Federal Bureau of Investigations Director, and Dan Bongioни, now the Federal Bureau of Investigations Deputy Director, were among those in MAGA world who questioned the official version of how Epstein died. Patel and Bongioni have since said Epstein committed suicide, but it has become an article of faith online, especially on the right, that Epstein's crimes that he committed also implicated government officials, their celebrities, and business leaders, and that someone killed him to conceal them. The memo says that no one else involved in the Epstein case will be charged. Epstein's associate Ghislaine Ghislaine Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence for child sex trafficking and related offenses. Ladies and gentlemen, zoom in. According to the memo, investigators closely examined footage of Epstein's Manhattan prison cell between around 10:40 p.m. on August 9th, 2019, when Epstein was locked in his cell, and around 6:30 a.m. the next day when he was found unresponsive. The footage, which was viewed by Axios, but couldn't be verified independently, showed no one entering the area the regime shed. The FBI enhanced the relevant footage by increasing its contrast, balancing the color, and improving its sharpness for greater clarity and viewability. The memo says, investigators found no incriminating client list of Epstein's, no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals, and no evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. The memo adds, ladies and gentlemen, now time to zoom out. As MAGA influencers, Patel and Bondi had been among the loudest voices touting Epstein conspiracies since joining the government as Trump appointees. They've been more measured in talking about the Epstein investigation and thrown cold water on the nation he was murdered. He killed himself. Bondi on Fox News in May said, I've seen the whole file, he said. Ladies and gentlemen, MAGA Media and Universe. And some of its voices on Capitol Hill have expressed frustration with the Trump regime's handling of the Epstein case since February, when DOJ released a tranche of Epstein-related files that were already publicly available. Ladies and gentlemen, conservative figures panned the disclosure, saying it lacked new information. This is not what we or the American people asked for, and a complete disappointment. Representative Anna Paulina Luna, a Republican representative from Florida, posted then, "Get us the information we asked for." Ladies and gentlemen, the intrusion. When Elon Musk had a falling out with Trump last month, Musk accused the president of being in the Epstein files. Trump posted on Truth Social in a statement from former Epstein lawyer David Schoen, Schoen, saying Trump wasn't implicated in any crime. Schoen, Schoen, had also represented Trump in his first impeachment trial. Ladies and gentlemen, Musk later deleted his accusation and other posts on X, saying he went too far. Still, the question about whether Trump's name is in the government's Epstein files have persisted because they had been acquaintances who attended the same parties in the 1990s. In a 2017 interview with author Michael Wolff, Epstein even claimed that that at one point he was Donald Trump's closest friend. Trump said, however, in 2019 that he was not a fan of Epstein and hadn't spoken to him for 15 years. He also said he had borrowed Epstein from his Gulf resorts in the early 2000s. Democrats, meanwhile, have demanded to know more about the Epstein and Trump relationship. Ladies and gentlemen, what's next? The DOJ and Federal Bureau of Investigations say in the memo that no further disclosure of Epstein-related material would be appropriate or warranted. The memo says much of the material relates to child sexual abuse, details of Epstein's victims, and information that would expose innocent individuals to allegations of wrongdoing. Through this review, we have no basis to revisit the disclosure of those materials and will not permit the release of child pornography, the memo said.